ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। बुकारस्वन्धकारो वै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम प्रज्ञानां शुक्रतानैः स्थिरचरनिगरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पुनरभिधिषणोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वगति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः माया संख्यातुरीयं परममृतवचम् तन्नतोऽस्मि। 55th कारिका। यावद्धेतुफलावेशः तावद्धेतुफलोद्भवः तीने हेतुफलावेशे नास्ति हेतुफलोद्भवः। हेतुफलोद्भवः हेतुफलावेशः यावत् तावदेव हेतुफलोद्भवः। हेतुफलावेशे क्षीणे हेतुफलोद्भवः अपि नास्ति। Here it is brought out that the cause effect is due to taking up cause effect as a reality. When you take it that there is cause effect, it leads to cause effect. It's a very bold statement. In fact, that summarizes the Advaita Vedanta view that because you see a cause effect, there is a cause effect. And the samsara, cause effect means what? The samsara. Samsara, the punya papa and the related struggles which are effect of your punya papa is what is called samsara. And that is due to the hetupala only, cause effect only. The punya papa become the cause for the effect which is samsara. And why that happened? Because of the avesha. That is what is shown here. Yena hetupalayoho avinivishtaha tesham kim syat. Bhashyakara says, those who are engrossed, embroiled in the hetupala, what happens to them? How is their charana? How is their, what is their activity? How do they perceive everything? That is a question. Uchyate धर्माधर्माख्यस्य हेतोः अहं कर्ता मम धर्माधर्मौ तत्फलं कालांतरे क्वचित् प्राणिनिकाये जातः भोक्ष्ये. I am because of my past punya papa. Dharma dharmakyasya hetoho aham karta. I am the one who has created this punya papa for myself. And as an effect, mama dharma dharmau, this punya and papa has a phalam kalantare, over time, kvachit pranini kaye jataha. I am born in the form of a prani, a life, a being. Bhokshye, I enjoy the effect of punya and papa, the dharma and adharma. This is how we look at. That is because I see myself as the karta. Therefore, I see myself as the bhokta. In fact, I see myself as an individual who is like, that puppet. There are strings all around, and this puppet is dancing, driven by the forces which are like the strings, various forces, the emotions, the needs, all these drive me towards activity and enjoyership. And that is how the jiva sees oneself as. All beings. Only thing is, other beings are not self-conscious, whereas humans are self-conscious. And because I am self-conscious, not only I am driven by the forces which are external, but my mind also pushes me to grief, to guilt, to hurt. So I am, because I see myself pitted against so many things and so many forces. All these together is what is here seen as the Hetubalavesha. Hetubalavesha is just a upalakshana. Don't think then, otherwise you will ask the question, what if somebody doesn't even look upon Punya Papa as what is causing? You can ask that question. Now, suppose someone is from Saudi Arabia. What about for that person? That person does not consider Punya Papa as the cause for their life, problems and happiness, everything. So, are they also, now can we say that they are devoid of Hetupala? No. They are also. So, this Hetupala Vesha is just an Upalakshana to show that I am looking upon myself as an individual. That's all. Ahankara. I am an individual and there are many individuals. And then there are things which are inert. And then there are forces. Within this whole scheme of things, I am just as there as an entity. That is what is the key here. That is dharma dharmakya hetu. Ahankarta mama dharma dharmau tatpalam kalantare kvachit pranini kaye jataha bhokshye. Because Bhashyakara's time, he is addressing an audience which is predominantly within this dharma. So the Punya Papa is intrinsically there in the conscience of the people who are listening to the Shastra in those days, correct? Because we are talking about few hundreds, many hundred years ago in this Aryavarta, where people are studying this Bhashya. So it is taken that so long as you think of yourself as someone who is enjoying because of Punya Papa, you will have the cause effect. It can be said. But now the applicability of the Shastra has widened, and people even within this own country don't believe in Dharma, a lot of people, Punya Papa. Now the question naturally comes, are they devoid of cause effect? Of course not. They are also, in fact, they are more driven by cause effect. The cause effect here is representative of taking oneself as an individual, isolated entity. So that aveshaha, yavad hetupalayor aveshaha, hetupala agraha, atmani adhyaropanam. So long as you are superimposing yourself as something which is subjected to cause effect cycle. See, even people who don't believe in Punya Papa and all that, they have a different cause effect. They will say, you believe in this particular God, you will go to heaven. That is also a cause effect, no? The effect of heaven, going to heaven, is because of a cause which is you are believing in some particular God. So, how different is it from Punya Papa? Not much. Here we talk about a currency. In our dharma, it's a currency. You earn a currency called punya, or you earn a debit note called papa, and that currency for you is basically encashed in different form at later time. That is how this, because there are innumerable. It's not like see, in the case of other religions, all they depend on is only one thing, which is your belief on that particular God. That's all. But in this case, when you take Punya Papa as cause effect, it is not just one, no, there are numerous events. So it leads to numerous Punyas, numerous Papas. And all of them need to be traded for some happiness or some dukkha over time. So you need currency. You need to have accounting. We need to have a general ledger, credit note, debit note, everything. Therefore, we have a person called Chitragupta, who is under the control of Kala, Yamadharma. Yamadharma is Kala. So within Kala, you act, and then you earn Punya and Papa. So the Kala, within that time only all this happened, right? Therefore, Kala, which is Dharmaraja, under him is this Chitragupta who keeps account. Because you have so many Punya Papa in your life. And each guy has a different set of Punya Papa, and then each Punya should be encashed with a certain enjoyment, and that enjoyment again varies depending on that person's. See, my enjoyment depends on my environment, my situation, my mental makeup. The level of happiness a dosa will give me is not the same as that dosa will give you. So there is so much of variability in how we consume, right? Therefore, this Chitragupta also has a very, very difficult job. And he is also called Guptaji because he is the one who keeps accounts. Generally, I am told in North India, Guptas are account keepers. So this Swamiji my Guruji used to say that Guptaji, the original Guptaji is Chitragupta. So this guy keeps accounts. Therefore, let's come back. Hetu palagraha atmani adhyaropanam. This cause effect is superposed on oneself because you are taking yourself to be an individual and also a doer and enjoyer. This adhyaropanam, so a non-existent individual, Surupataha, it's all one Brahma, there is existence. But this isolated fellow, it does non-existent. But then you see superimpose, and once you have superimposed that, then cause effect also is, that is called Atmani Adhyaropanam. Tachittada ityartha. Tachittada means your mind is aligned with that kind of a thought. Tavad hetu palayoho udbhavaha. Dharma dharmayoho tatpalasya cha anuchedena pravrittihi ityartha. Yavat. Okay. Yavat tavat. Therefore, here yavat hetupala aveshaha tavat hetupalodbhavaha. The hetupala udbhava means its creation is to that extent until you are continuing to have this avesha. Avesha is translated as what by Bhashyakara? Agraha or Adhyaropana, Atmani Adhyaropana. Superposing on oneself the cause effect as one's nature leads you towards cause effect. Tavad hetupalayoho udbhavaha. Dharma dharmayoho tatpalasya. Hetupala means dharma dharma tatpala. Anuchedena pravrittihi. Ucheda means rooting out. Anucheda means not rooted out, means it continues. Pravritti just goes on and on and on. It never gets over. So long as that superimposition is there, it will continue forever. Because for us, it's not a linear, it just is cyclical. So even after Kalpa is over, Chaturyuga is over, Kalpa will come, Manvantara will come, Manvantara is over, Kalpa will come. Then again and again and again, this Jiva keeps on rotating in this wheel. So you don't postpone getting this jnana now, because you think, okay, let's take some time, after a few years, we will gain this jnana. That's all. We will get into that wheel. Before you even realize, you are into the next set of birth. And we don't know whether you will be born as human being or a rat. Who knows? Hetupala anucheda. That is why I am saying, don't think, oh, he is making us afraid, instilling fear and all that. That anucheda is mentioned here in Bhashya, so I am just saying. The ucheda doesn't happen. Pravritti will go on. How else you will explain? Anuchedena pravritti means, oh, let it go on, you will think. No, let it go on is not good for you. So the ucheda is what is good. Otherwise, this is, you will, even if you get tired, you will continue to get pushed into this cycle. Yada punaha mantra aushadi viryena iva grahaveshaha yatokta advaita darshanena avidyodbhuta hetupalavesho apanitaha bhavat. He gives an example. Grahavesha means possession. Possession by what? Some bhuta preta, pishacha, some muni, something. So in those days, and even in these days in villages and all, they talk about he is possessed of a spirit. That is grahavesha. So when some spirit has gotten hold of somebody, Then what he used? Mantra, Oshadi, Virya. Mantra Mani, Oshadi we will use. So, in Tamil Nadu and all, you will find they will bring, I think it will be the same in other places also, neem leaf and some basma, something, and they will bring that damaru and they'll dun, some, then they will say, you go away, and they'll do this, no? And they'll give some oshadi also for the possessed person to drink and do some japa, mantra, dagini, digini, and all that, right? So here he says, Punaha mantra oshadi viryena eva, by that mantra, oshadi, and virya that is brought in, graha veshaha goes away. Similarly, what is the mantra oshadi here for this graha, which is Hetupala graha, avesha. This is also avesha, no? There it is graha avesha. This is Hetupala avesha. So to remove that, Bhashigara says, Advaita Darshana is the mantra oshadi. And what is the graha avesha? Avidyodbhuta Hetupala avesha. The avidya has caused this Hetupala avesha. Like that graha avesha is caused by some yakshi. In Kerala, they'll call it as yakshi or something. Here in Tamil Nadu, they will say different thing. So that, but it is there, that possession, exorcist, this kind of a thing is there even in the West. It's not some isolated thing which happens only in India. Okay, across the globe, you will find there was this movie called Exorcist, and I was a child and all, younger days. This movie came, was a big hit, and we wanted to see, but they will not allow us to watch that movie because we are underage that time. That time it came. So I remember well that Exorcist was a big hit. I think it is like 70s. So maybe it came before also. I don't know. My childhood, I heard about this Exorcist and I never got to see that. Avidyodbhuta hetupala veshaha apanitaha bhavati. So this possession by this hetupala buddhi, individual, I am samsari, this, that buddhi, that is also like so you need an exorcist who comes and removes that possession. So that is the guru only. So this yatokta advaita darshana, that yatokta advaita darshanam, yatokta means by this previous verses. When that happened, then tada tasminne shine nasti hetupalo. Then from that point, there is no more hetupalodbhava. In fact, there is no from that point. Because till that point also, the Hetu Palodbhava is not for the Atma. The Hetu Palodbhava that was happening also was a Vidya only. So you cannot say, till that point a person was Ajnani, from this point he is a Jnani. That is from Loka Drishti. If you are looking from that side, from the Ajnani side, you look at, you can say, oh, this person sat under the Bodha, what is the tree? Okay. That Bodhi tree. Then the person got Jnanam. So after that only he became Jnani and all. But from Jnani's perspective, the person sees there was never any Hetu or Pala Udbhava. There was nothing. I was never there. All that is there is my Surupa. I was not there means what? That individual Jiva was never there. That is that Jnanam, no? The Jnanam has to happen like that only. Then only it is Jnanam. Till yesterday I was not Brahman, from today I am Brahman means then that is not even Brahman. Because it has to be beyond time, cause of time, beyond space, cause of space. Etubala also is all in Maya, Mithya only. This is the biggest problem. Most of this Vishishtadvaiti, Dvaitis, all these people have, because they find it very difficult to switch between this Ajnana Sthiti and Jnana Sthiti, because anybody will find it difficult. But if you approach it that let me try to understand how that is, then it is different. Then you become a student. But your approach is, hey, this cannot be right. So they wrote the book called Satadushani. I was reading. The first Dushana they say if is Shruti a Pramana or not. If it is a Pramana, then it has to be is it a Satyam or that is also Mithya. Then obviously we say it is Mithya. Then they say, oh, if Shastra is Mithya, then how can it be Pramana? And even if you say it is Vyavaharika Satyam, a Vyavaharika Satya Pramana, how can it give a Paramarthika Jnana? This is a problem. This is the question they asked. The problem itself is unreal problem. That is what we are saying. So you don't need a real solution. So unreal problem needs unreal solution. No? So from a Jnani's perspective, that's why I'm saying, from a Jnani's perspective, Swarupa only existed always. There was never an individual. So that individuality itself is born of avidya. It is not an avidya which is for an individual. The individuality itself is a product of avidya. And that's why you will find the term Mula Avidya. Then the question will be, oh, then the avidya should exist. Maya should. In fact, it is asked here in 48. That question is asked. Maya nama vastu tarhi. Just see. Maya na vidyate statement is there. Bhashyakara asked this question. Purvapakshi question. Maya nama vastu tarhi. Then don't say only Brahman exists. So there is a product thing called Maya also. Say that it exists. Bhashyakara says, na evam. Sacha Maya na vidyate. There is no such Maya. He says, Maya iti avidyamanasya akhya iti abhipraya. That which does not exist, we call it by the name Maya. That's all. Now, you won't understand it when we say like this. So, we have to first teach. Then this will make sense. The point is, for you to understand the Swarupa, Maya is used. Because avidya, then how will you take somebody to the Swarupa? They are seeing all this world right now. So get the Sarupa Darshanam, it is used. Anyway, so we have been using the word Maya and all. So we can understand. Right? Mayam tu Prakritim Vidyat, Mayinam tu Maheshwaram. But the Prakriti Maya, actually, once the Swarupa is seen, that Prakriti Maya never existed. Is the Jnanam. That Jnanam only is Atma Jnanam, Brahma Vastu Jnanam. Anyway, now coming to this 46. Yavad Hetu Palaveshaha Samsaraha Tavadayataha Shine Hetu Palaveshe Samsaram na Prapadyade. Okay. Now, this Hetu Palavesha comes and exists only so long as Hetu Palavesha, we said in the previous verse, exists only till Hetu Palavesha is there. Is cognized. I mean, is superposed, right? Now, what is the effect of Hetu Palavesha is the samsara. That also is only there, only samsara is there only till the point a person continues to hold Hetupala Vesha. When the Hetupala cause effect is dropped, then no punya and papa comes. Why? Because the person doesn't take oneself as a karta. There is no person from that point. But then that person is able to talk, teach how, that is called Badita Anuvritti. Means from that standpoint of the Jnani, these are driven by the gunas, that's all. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. The person doesn't identify with that. It just lets it go, happen. There is no identification to the individual. That is called Badita Anuvritti. Again, all this is from the standpoint of Jagat. See, when everything is Brahman, a person acts doesn't matter, no? Person dances doesn't matter. Person eats food doesn't matter because it's all Brahman. The drishti has changed. There is no more an individuality. Whatever is demanded by the situation, that's why it's called Anyecha Prarabdham. The Prarabdham of a jnani is not one's own Prarabdha, but Anyecha. The things around demand a certain thing. Whoever is able to go take sannyasa, live in forest, live in mountain, and just goes, that is fine. But somebody is not doing, doesn't matter. Driven by Anyecha Prarabdha only. It is all driven by that. Because the person, there is no likes and dislike, there is no want, there is no expectation, there is no need for fulfilling certain things. So the entire cause effect, Kartritvam, Bhoktrutvam is gone. So yedi hetu balodbhavaha tada ko doshaha iti uchyate. What is, so what if there is hetu balodbhava? What is the problem? Yavat samyak darshanena hetu balaveshaha na nivartate. Akshina samsaraha tavat ayataha dirgaha bhavati ityartaha. Obviously, when there is cause effect, it leads to samsara because I want punya. I will seek punya. I will seek to avoid papa. I will seek to enjoy. I will seek to avoid dukkha. In the process, I will take myself to be somebody who is doing an action. And when I violate dharma, I feel guilty. When I have an objective, I do something, I don't get the result, I get hurt in the process. Then I have self-judgment. I am always being blamed. I am not able to control myself. I have been a failure. All these go, it's called samsara. Everything is centered around I and it's all in buddhi. It's so simple. And that identity is what is the problem. Until that identity is not gone, till the time it is not gone, the samsara will continue. Because my identity as a national identity, my linguistic identity, my family identity, my cultural, like everything has comes with its own baggage. I get hurt when someone loses cricket match. I am unhappy. Why? Because of my identity with India or with Chennai Super Kings or whatever. Right? Everything. These are small issues, but then it's all centered around what? Identity. That individuality is where everything stems from. So that is samsara only. Kshine punaha hetupalaveshe samsaram na prapadyade karana bhava. When hetupalavesha goes away, the kartrutvam goes away, bhoktrutvam goes away. Karana, there is no karana, therefore there is no samsara. 57. Samvritya jayate sarvam shashvatam nasti tena vai. Sadbhavena hi ajam sarvam uchedastena nasti vai. Samritya. Samriti means avidya. Because Samriti is going to be used in the next few verses. So Samritya jayate sarvam, due to avidya, the superimposition. Avidya, and due to avidya there is adhyasa. That is superimposition. Swarupa avidya is the cause. Due to Swarupa avidya, you take yourself to be this individual. Therefore, there is no, it's not shashvatam, stiri bhavaha. Nityam. So it is not there. It is all ephemeral. Swarupena sadbhavena hi ajam sarvam uchchedaha tena nasti vai. But from a paramartha drishti, everything is ajam brahma only. Atma eva. Here we are not talking Vijnanavadi. Lot of people, this if you read Visishtadvaitis and Dvaitis, they will say Adi Shankara based his philosophy on Gaudapada, who was a Buddhist. That's what they say. They say this whole Mandukya Karika is a Buddhist thing. And that is why he is Mayavadi. And we just saw, no, Shankaracharya says that what doesn't exist is called Maya. Then how can you say he is Mayavadi? But they say Uchchedaha. So, Paramartha Sadbhava, this everything is Atma only. Nanu Ajat Atmanaha Anyat Nasti Eva. Atmanaha Anyat. So, the question comes, Purvapakshi is asking a very pertinent question. Whatever we were discussing, Satadushani, similar question he actually raises. He says, Ajat Atmanaha Anyat Nasti Eva. Other than this Ajam Brahma, unborn Brahman, which is Sarvadhara and all that, you are saying there is nothing else. If there is nothing else, how come you are talking about cause effect? Tat katam hetu palayoho samsarasya cha utpatti vinashau uchyate tvaya. How come you are saying there is a samsara which is born, which is nashtam? What is your basis? So for that only this particular verse is there, he says. Shrunu, listen. Samvritya samvaranam samvritihi. So this whole lauka vyavarahara is avidya vishayaha, which actually doesn't exist. That's very profound. The avidya once goes away, you would think you see that there was no avidya also. All the time there was only Brahma. You had known actually. Just that you didn't bring your attention to it. Avidya Vishayaha Laukika Vyavaharaha. All this Loka Vyavahara is Samvaranam, Samvritihi. Like Avaranam. Like that is Samvaranam. Laukika Vyavaharaha Avidya Vishayaha. Taya Samvritya Jayate Sarvam. By that avidya, only everything is born. Like your avidya of the rope leads to the birth of snake, stick and everything that you see on it. Then avidya vishaye sashvatam nitya. So once you see, think about it. Once you see your Atma, even when whatever you are perceiving as the Jagat is still visible to you, you will see that also as Atma. So that means what? You have actually been seeing the Atma only all the time. Just that there was avidya, that it is this Atma which is there. So avidya only is gone. And that going away also, you will see that, okay, actually it is not gone. I didn't even have this avidya with. So, but how can it be possible and all? If you ask, then only when jnanam is attained, you can see that fact. No? Otherwise, how is it possible to explain beyond saying this? But anyway, so taya samvritya jayate sarvam tena avidya visaye shashvatam nityam nasti vai. In fact, this entire within avidya, whatever comes, there is nothing which is shashvatam. Everything keeps on changing. Sashvan nashvaram. Everything that you see keeps changing. Kalo sarvabhakshakaha. The whole perceived world keeps changing. Every bit of it is changing all the time. That's why uncertainty principle. Things are, because at gross level everything appears to be It's like the earth is flat. By gross perception, you see it flat, that's all, but it's actually not flat. Sun rises in the east, sets in the west. It's all you see, that's all, but there's no reality to that. It's a perspective from where you are standing. But reality is everything is changing. Shashvatam nityam nasti vai. Ataha utpatti vinasha lakshanaha samsaraha ayataha iti uchyate. Ayataha. Where was here? Ayataha. Dirgaha. He said. The samsara is dirgaha. It goes on and on and on. Utpatti vinasha lakshanaha samsaraha just goes on and on and on. Just something utpadyam. There is nothing which is actually born, we have seen, right? Everything is only changes. The changes rooted on an unchanging, which is Brahman. Paramartha sadbhavena tu ajam sarvam. Everything we say is changing. But if you actually see what is, nothing is changing. It's all Swarupataha Brahma only. The changiness that you are seeing is all avidya. There is an unchanging which is there everywhere, which is ajam sarvam paramartha sadbha, like Trump started doing this. Paramartha sadbhavena. He does this all the time. Paramartha sadbhavena tu ajam sarvam atmaiva yasmat ataha jati abhavat uchchedaha tena nasti vai kasyajit hetupaladehe. There is no uchcheda of what? Atma. Sarvam atmaiva. So there is no birth. Therefore, there is no uchcheda also, removal also. Okay. It is all the time there. Brahman only is there. In fact, time, all the time itself is a very figurative expression, because time also is there in Brahman. So there is no question of Brahman being there all the time. Time depends on Brahman. This is very important. Again, this is another thing which is taken up for discussion by Vedanta Deshika in Shatadushan about the time. Okay, just because you don't perceive, don't say there is no time, is what he argues there. But then what is time? It is only a perceived thing. There is nothing else actually called time. 58. Dharmaya iti jayante, jayante tena tattvataha, janma mayopamam tesham sacha maya na vidyate. Dharma means Jivatma, we have seen. People who say, ya jayante iti dharmaha, people, we have to see the Bhashya, otherwise this is difficult to understand. Ya dharma iti jayante, te jayante, tena tattvataha jayante, janma mayopamam, tesham janma mayopamam, maya na vidyate cha. It is about the Jivatma. Is it really born? He says no. Tattvataha, it is not. The birth is as though Maya, and he gives in the next verse, Maya means from Maya Ankura, Maya Bija, Maya Ankura is born. Both are Maya. So we have seen right earlier, from Satya Vastu, Asat Vastu cannot be born, from an Asat cannot be born. From Sat also another Sat cannot be born, from Asat another Asat also can't be born, therefore there is no birth, he says. Remember few verses back. So here also Maya Ankura from Maya Bija, therefore he says there is nothing called Maya, means there is no birth. It is only an expression for you to understand that all that is here is Brahman. You have to, this Prakriya, we have to keep saying it is Prakriya. Why? You don't have to say that, you can say, but we have to say, otherwise you, the same question comes, no? See, we said from Asat, Asat cannot be born. But then you are saying from Maya Bija, a Maya Ankura is born. We are not saying from Maya Bija, Maya Ankura is born. We are saying it is as though an expression, when you make an expression that from Maya Bija, a Maya Ankura is born, same thing holds to the Hetupala that we have spoken here. It means there is nothing called Maya Bija. Just doesn't exist. And there is no Maya Ankura also. That also doesn't exist. Where is the question of one being born from another? But we still need words to teach. Therefore, we have to show the statement that Maya Bija leads to Maya Ankura itself is for you to understand what is. Now you can't logically see, this is the problem. The Prakriya is a way to make people see all that is here is Brahman. That's all. Now, Prakriya is a tool being used. Prakriya is not Siddhanta. So Siddhanta is all that is here is Brahman. That is all we are saying. No Maya, no Vyavaharika Satya, no Pratipasika Satya. There is no. If you have a Pratipasika Satya, Vyavaharika Satya, Paramarthika Satya and all, in reality, then there is no Advaitam. So that is all wordplay. Okay, honestly speaking, all that is said so that Brahman is shown. But if you just say all that is here Brahman, you won't understand anything. So we need a prakriya, way to teach it. So we use. Now these people who are Purvapakshis, the other Siddhanta people, as though they are making big point, they come and hit on the prakriya and say, how can a non-existent Jagat be known to you? Something they'll ask. Are it is a prakriya, just as a, that is a tool I am using. Don't come and question my tool. You question the Siddhanta. No? Siddhanta is not prakriya. Maya and all, not part of our Siddhanta. Our Siddhanta is all that is here is Brahma. That's all. Now, how it is taught, all these things come into play. Vyavaharika Satyam, and there was one guy who came in YouTube and arguing with me, how can there be Vyavaharika Satyam? Trikala Abaditam is the only Satyam. How can there be Vyavaharika Satyam, Pratipasika Satyam? This is a problem. Now, our Prakriya is you taken up and then they are arguing on the Prakriya. That's all. Anyway, coming to this Dharma Yeiti. So, let's go to Bhashya. येपि आत्मानः अन्ये च धर्माः जायन्ते इति कल्प्यन्ते ते इति एवं प्रकारा यथोक्ताः संवृत्तिः निर्दिश्यते इति संवृत्ति एव धर्माः जायन्ते संवृत्त्या एव samvriti is what we have already said, Maya, right? Dharma is Jiva. Yepi atmanaha अन्ये च धर्माः जायन्ते इति कल्प्यन्ते. There is a Jiva which is born, as though a Jiva is born if somebody is superimposing. Te iti. What is that te? Evam prakara yatokta samvritihi nirdishyate. Te iti evam prakara yatokta samvritihi nirdishyate. Te means Maya. Mayaya. Iti samvritya eva dharmaha jayante. Through Maya only, through a, see, the Jiva's birth itself is due to avidya. So you have to understand. Samvritya eva dharmaha jayante. Samvriti is Maya. Mayaya eva Jivaha jayante. Okay. Nate tattvataha paramartataha jayante. Paramartataha, it is Paramatma. It is not born. Jivatvam also is Maya Karyam. Lot of people, the other Sampradayavadis don't understand. They think Jivas have Maya which is coloring them. No. Jiva itself is product of Maya. Then the question is, on whom is this Maya sitting? That they will ask. Where will it sit? When there is only Brahman, everything is Brahmaspadam. That is why Shakti is Ardhangi of Parameshwara. So Maya cannot be somewhere else. That also is Brahman, in Brahman. Since Maya is Avidya, they'll say then is Brahman as Avidya. Okay. That question. Brahman lights up Avidya, of course. Everything is lighted up by Brahman only. But Brahman is not a mind. Brahman is not something which has Avidya. Again, then Brahman is, because people think Brahman is like a person. Therefore, they think in Brahman's mind there is Avidya. Okay. So, all this is because human mind can only think of another human form or some kind of form, because we are all the time we are thinking of various gunas. So when Shastra says there is Brahman, immediately some person only comes to these people's mind. Then they say this Navaratnani. Then what is the Brahman? This Harihi eva Brahma, Sayeva Jnatavyaha. And that Hari who is in Vaikunta with Gada, Changa, Chakra, Gada, Pani, he is what is Brahman. Then from there it starts. Jagat Satyam, all that. Vedam Asti. Because your mind can think of only Gunavat Vastu. So Brahman also, the moment a word is used, think it is some Ishvara type of entity. There are 100,000s of entities, one more entity called Brahman. So then if you say Brahman has Maya, that means the Maya is coloring that Brahman. As though Brahman is one other person, that person has this Maya. That is another, that is where, see, why I am talking is not to attack them. We also are prone to be influenced those kind of thoughts, whatever the way they think. A lot of us may be also intrinsically, looking at things like that. But why should Brahman be like a person? Prajnapti eva, Jnapti Swarupam eva. Everything else is dependent on it. This body, mind, everything is adhinam, being Maya. Yat punaha tat samvritya janma tesham dharmanam yatoktanam yatha mayaya janma tata tat mayopamam pratyetavyam. Here this Maya word is brought by Karika. So Bhashyakara talks about it. Okay. Mayaya janma and all that. Yat punaha. Again, one more thing we should remember. The word dharma, samvriti, we have already seen this. All these are what? Buddhist words. Many Buddhist words were used by Karikakara because they were in vogue during his time. But he reminted, my Guruji used the term reminting. He reminted these words to mean the Advaitic content. The words were used, but they were given Advaitic flavor. We have seen that, right? Therefore, Maya also, even though Shvetashvatara Upanishad uses Mayam tu Prakritim Vidya, Mayinam tu Maheshwaram, and even in Bhagavad Gita says Mama Maya Duratyaya and all that, here we can safely take, because Dharma is used, whatever is Buddhist words are being used here, Prajnapti and all that. This Maya can also be taken as word adopted from how Maya was used by Buddhist also. Yat punaha tat samvritya janma. Through the avidya, that janma, tesham dharmanam, for those jiva, yatoptanam yatha mayaya janma, tata tat mayopamam pratyedavyam. So that it has to be cognized as a maya janma only. For this jivas, what is that maya janma? Then that's why he asked this question. Maya nama vastu tarhi. So then there should be an entity called maya. Then only this non-entity maya cannot create at a jiva's birth. No, there is no jiva birth at all. That's what we are saying. No, but you just said from maya. So he say you have to understand. That's why this word I have been again and again saying prakriya only. Sacha maya na vidyate. Maya iti avidyavanasya akhya. The abhipraya, that which does not exist. That's why we say yama sa maya. That which does not exist is maya. Avidyavanasya, that which is non-existent. For it only there is an akhya called maya. Yata maya mayat bijat jayate tanmayom kuraha naso nityaha nacha uchchedi tadvate dharmeshu yojana. We'll see Bhashya the next session, but like I was saying earlier, the Maya Bija leads to Maya Ankura. The seed which is non-existent leads to a sprout which is non-existent. Means what? Neither seed exists nor sprout exists. Na sau nityaha nacha uchchedi. So you cannot, if you ask, will this sprout always exist? This Maya sprout which came from Maya seed, is it Nitya or will it die? Is it Nitya or Uchchedi? But it doesn't even exist. So where is the question of Nityatvam or Uchchedanam? Tad dharmeshu yojana. Tadvat dharmeshu yojana. So this jiva also, okay, so dharma is here, the jivatvam, all these things. That is not there. All the time it's Brahman, Brahman and Brahman only. There is no jiva or anything, because jivatvam, everything is incidental due to avidya only. Surupataha, there is no jiva, nothing. So there is no nityatvam or uchchedanam. So you can forget that. Okay. We'll see in the next class. Om Purnamadaഃ Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
हरि ओम जी।